What's up, guys? Jay Barabee here, and I did a mindset training for you today. And this mindset training is about overcoming fear and rejection, doing a self-assessment and understanding yourself, armored and exposed mindset, and the difference between those, and even better yet, how to get out of being derailed from your mindset. So I did this training, and if you like it, which I'm sure you will, click below on the subscribe now and get more awesome videos like this. But without further ado, here you go, is the video. All right, see ya. So first off, talking about mindset, the first thing is you really need to know where you come from. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a breakdown of how to do a self-assessment for yourself, mindset, an overview of armored and exposed mindset and how to get out of those, how to overcome fear and rejection, a couple of hacks with that, and what will you get, which is basically taking the self-assessment and then turning that around to what you focus on is going to be what you achieve, what happens in your life. All right, so the first thing with a self-assessment, what I like you to do, and I'll give you the abridged version. That's not in the course itself. But the first thing is to identify your strengths and weaknesses. And what I mean by that is a lot of us we end up prospecting the wrong lead sources, and then we jump on another one. So, for example, I've had agents work for me where they get started with, say, for sale by owners, and then within a week and a half, they're not getting the results that they wanted to get for one reason or another. Okay, and what they end up doing is they want to propel themselves into expireds or move into buyer lead generation. And I just had this conversation the other day with an agent. Don't move from FSBOs where you have leads in front of you, literally a ton of leads sitting right in front of you, to trying to generate buyer leads, which aren't as successful as listing leads anyway. And you're trying to find them and you're paying money for them, but FSBOs you already have. So it just depends on what lead source that you're going after. But what I want you to do is to identify your strengths and weaknesses. Okay, so identify your strengths and weaknesses. This is number one. Okay, can you guys see this? Go ahead and drop me a comment if you can. I think you can. Yes, it looks like you can. Cool. Okay, so identifying your strengths and weaknesses is number one. If you are, and I'll give you some examples here. If you are really that person who is geared up towards video in a big way, then you want to be incorporating video in your prospecting, and that can be in all different phases of your prospecting. My wife Jessica, for example, she's a killer door knocker. She can knock on 5 doors and get one closed sale per 5 doors, which is insane. My strength is I'm driven and I just go from one thing to the next, which is more for FSBOs, expireds. Some people are much better at the servicing. Okay, so they provide a lot more service than anybody else. That person should be hitting their database first. So what you're doing by identifying your strengths and weaknesses is you're making sure that the lead source is in alignment with you. Okay, with you internally, because all of these things are going to be uncomfortable, but you have to make phone calls. Everything's going to be uncomfortable at some level, but if it's uncomfort to the level where it's causing major distress in your body and there's no other better lead source, then that's something that you have to ask yourself. Okay, so strengths and weaknesses. Now also I want you to identify your biggest time waster. Okay, time waster. So one of the biggest time wasters is like diddling around with technology, and some of these things that you have to, but you can't get too caught up into it. to where you're not making phone calls. So you have to identify your time waster. Understand your personality type, which is the next one. So understand personality type. You can do one of two different assessments. You can either do a DISC, D-I-S-C, where it's either driver, or expressive, which is the I, S, which is steady and kind of amiable, or C, which is analytical. Or you can use driver, analytical, amiable, or expressive. And by doing that, what you're doing is you're understanding whoever you're prospecting, whoever you're talking to, is if you identify that they are an analytical and then you adjust your personality type, if it's not naturally an analytical, you're having less friction. Okay, you're more in alignment with the conversation, so you don't get out of mindset. So you have your strengths, your weaknesses, and then understanding and identifying what you want. So what you want basically can be broken down in a bunch of different ways, but I'm just going to give you the easy way here. So we'll get rid of the strengths and weaknesses, time wasters, and understanding the personality. And now for the what you want, I'm going to go off the self-assessment and what you want for career, money, family, okay, and I'm not going to write these down, but career, money, family, health, personal growth and development, and finally, contribution and legacy. Now, this stuff isn't spoken about much, but it all matters. This is the stuff that matters more than anything in our life, okay? Like our career, what are we aligned with and where do we want to be? Where do we want to be in our career, and are we moving in that direction? And a lot of times we don't know if we're moving in that direction because we haven't done a structured business plan. This is why I urge you guys, if you haven't gotten into the business blueprint yet, to go through that and even just do it at a basic level and go through it quickly if you have to. But I would recommend that you take the time, understand what you want and what those goals are for your career. Money goals, okay? How much do you want to make and why? And this is why we have the metrics module in the course, because metrics is all about knowing how much you're worth, how much your time is worth, and what that goal is going to accomplish, how many transactions it takes, knowing if you're on pace. So that's your money goal. Your family and relationships, I mean, my wife and kids are everything, so enough said on that. Everybody has different goals, though. You might not have a family. You might want to start a family. You might not. You might want to have a better relationship with your brother, whatever it is. Health, obviously that's something important, and that's something that we need to mix into our daily schedule. Personal growth and development, how much are you feeding your brain? Because if you're not growing, you're dying, okay? And that's a fact. Growth is really, it's critical in how we develop and where we end up in our life. So you have to understand what that growth and development is for you and where you want that to be. And then contribution or legacy. You're likely not at that point now, but what do you want that to be? What do you want that to look like in the future? And then by knowing all of these things, you're going to know what you're in alignment with. So it's a lot easier. So what does this do? It's a lot easier to have a strong mindset when you know exactly what you want and you know on a daily basis if you're moving in that direction. So let me explain that even a little bit more. If I wake up and I don't have a plan for the day, like really, I mean like a good plan. And if I don't have that plan, first of all, it's obviously not aligned with what my overall plan is. We have to have this target, and everybody knows this. You have to have the goal, the target, where you're going towards. If you don't have that, and then you wake up and you don't have a plan for the day that's moving towards that, then yeah, it's easy to have a mindset. a mindset problem. You're going to feel distracted. You're going to feel like you're not productive. You're not moving forward. And all of these things are going to affect your mindset. Okay. So this is the self-assessment portion and why that's so important. To identify the strengths and weaknesses, to make sure that you're working the right source of business, and then to identify your personality type. And let me see for the recap here. Strengths and weaknesses, personality type, biggest time waster, and then going through what do you want in the main categories of your life. All right, so now I want to go over a mindset overview with you guys. And if you got any questions, just put them in the chat and I will address them. So mindset overview, there's two different types of mindset. Okay. First one is armored, the second one is exposed. And I will write these down. Okay, so let's talk about the difference between armored and exposed. Excuse me. Having an armored mindset, by doing your daily planning, by being intentional with what you do, by being prepared, by having support systems in place, understanding expectations, setting targets, tracking your numbers, all of these things give you an armored mindset, because what they're doing is they're strengthening your ability to go into the office and get on the phone or just do what you're supposed to do on a daily basis. Here, I'm going to take a sip of water. Okay. Or just to do what you're supposed to do on a daily basis. Armored mindset. Then you have an exposed mindset. What an exposed mindset is say you start off strong and you have things that get in the way, like when you're making calls, either you have the fear to get on the phone, or you're all pumped up and then you get on the phone and then somebody swears at you, or you just get derailed for one reason or another. Or you're on the phones and you have a client call you or text you or whatever that just completely throws you off. They need something ASAP, right away. Look, we're a society that needs something right away. We think we need something right away. We want something right away. I'm the same way. By understanding this in other people and being able to get back on track when you get knocked off your mindset is the thing. That's the thing that we need to know and the thing that we need to do. So yeah, having an exposed mindset, we need to get back on that. I'll give you one example of what I do to get back on an exposed mindset. So some of you may or may not know, several years back, I had pretty much a whole year of depression, and that kind of sucked, of course. But what I did was I needed to get out of it, and I broke out of that on the old cliche January 1st New Year's resolution, which was, I think, the only New Year's resolution I ever made that stuck. And what I do to get out of that mindset when I get derailed is I close my eyes, and when I close my eyes, I envision elevator doors opening. And I know this is going to sound weird, but trust me, okay? Elevator doors opening and all of the bad stuff being pushed out. And what I see in front of me is I see a white light and I see my family. That works for me. Something else works for everybody else. I had a day a couple of months ago where I was doing a webinar and it was live. And all of a sudden, the tech went out and I couldn't get it back up. So all these people that were expecting to hear from me and all of this money that I had in for the advertising to have everybody there pretty much just went down the toilet. So I needed to get back in a positive mindset as soon as possible. What I did was I just stepped out of the office and put my hands in the air and I just walked for, 10 minutes. That worked for me. Okay, so something else works there's different things that works for everybody. So I have in the course the how to maintain an armored mindset, and also 14 mindset hacks to change your state in an instant. I'll just go over some of those real quick. How to maintain an armored mindset: affirmations daily, stand as much as possible. I call this the Trinity of life, but basically it's taking breath breaks, because we need to breathe. We need oxygen to live. We need to drink enough water, because we have to drink water to live. This is why I call it the Trinity of life. And then develop good eating habits, which is probably the most difficult for all of us. I believe, arguably, that food is the biggest addiction that anybody has, the biggest addiction that society has, and the hardest to overcome. Because I quit drinking alcohol 11 years ago, and I can stay away from alcohol. I don't have to be in those environments. But with food, you have to eat food to live. So developing good eating habits is critical. Hold on, gotta take a sip of water. Okay. Getting the proper amount of sleep, daily exercise, having a morning routine, daily planning, and having good mini habits. Okay, so I mean, don't try to tackle everything at once. Take it piece by piece. If you're going to start exercising and you haven't exercised in 2 years, maybe do 1 push-up the first day. Do 2 push-ups the second day, 3 push-ups the third day. Whatever that means for you, I'm just talking about taking incremental steps instead of what we normally do. We view this big mountain that we have to climb, and we feel like we need to get it done yesterday because we want everything as quick as we want it. And now 14 mindset hacks to change your state in an instant, and I'll run through these. Immediately break the pattern. So do some kind of pattern interrupt. So when I had the webinar tech issue, walked outside, put my hands up, I just broke that pattern. I changed my environment. I can tell you, whenever my kids are having a tough time, namely Kenzie. So whenever she's having a tough time, I'll take her out of the environment. I'll put her in a new environment, and that changes her state because I'm breaking the pattern. Changing your physiology, so standing up instead of sitting down, have your posture. Number 3, meditate. Some people dig that, some people don't. Number 4, breathe. Number 5, drink water. 6, talk to a friend. Call a friend or a loved one or a mentor. So if you get derailed from something and you're having a tough time, talk to somebody. And I know that's difficult for me, and I'm sure it's difficult for some of you too, but I mean, it's pretty simple. Give back. Some people really appreciate giving back and contributing, so that gets the positive chemical reactions going in our mind. Watch something motivating on YouTube or similar. Okay, I've done this before where I've had habits where I would watch 5-minute at a time motivational pieces in the morning. So maybe put it in your morning routine if that works for you. Do something fun. Just get out and go do something fun. Smile. Okay, you can't help but be happy when you're smiling, and fake it. So before I get on the phones to prospect, what I'll do, and I know this probably will sound ridiculous to some people, but I'll just shake it out a little bit, and I'll just force a fake smile, even if I'm not happy, but I'll exaggerate it. Okay, so I'll do this, and I'll tell you, it's easier, and I'll do that when I'm on the phones too. It's easier to get back into a positive mindset. Laugh, talk to yourself. Talking to yourself is okay. Self-talk, positive self-talk. Have fun, and then that elevator deal I was telling you about before. Those are some of those hacks, okay? So that's the mindset overview, the difference between armored and exposed, and how to keep an armored mindset, and how to get out of exposed. For overcoming fear and rejection, I basically only want to talk about 2 things, and I'm going to make it really simple. And that is objections. Well, actually, I'm sorry, 3 things. Practice, objections, and there was one more. It's okay. So, practice. if you practice, whatever you're doing, whatever source of business you're prospecting, whatever it is in your business, if you're playing a sport, whatever it is, if you practice, you're going to get better and you're going to be prepared for whatever happens. So think about playing baseball. You're playing baseball and you keep getting curveballs thrown at you and you don't know how to hit a curveball. But somebody teaches you how to hit a curveball. Are you going to be able to hit that curveball if you only practice that once a day? No, you have to practice it more and more and more until you're fully comfortable swinging at that curveball because you have a high likelihood of hitting it. And if you have a high likelihood of hitting it, then you will not fear the curveball. You guys get what I'm saying here? You picking up what I'm putting down? And you can use any other analogy with that, but that's a pretty good one, I think. Let's see. So the second piece besides practice is objections. And what I mean by that is naturally if you practice, you will be able to overcome and handle or eliminate objections before they ever come up. And what I mean by that is all of the scripts that I use, all the scripts I put together, they're designed to address objections before they are brought to you, before the seller has a chance to give you the objection. I teach you how to address it by knowing what they will be saying and what they're thinking, so that it does a couple of things. They know that you are aligned with them, and also you just don't get the objection. So if you don't get the objection, then you're not going to fear. Okay, you're not going to have the fear of rejection. Does that make sense? Okay. And then the third thing is it's okay. It's okay to fail. I can't tell you how many times I fail. Here, let me take a sip of water again so that you can think about how many times I fail. All right. So I fail a lot, and it's okay. Sometimes I would argue that I fail a lot more than I succeed. As long as I can keep them to mini failures, and as long as I can learn from them and cut and run as quickly as possible. So sometimes I'll put together material for a course for you guys, and I'll get halfway through, and then I'll say, you know what, I'm off target here, and I need to scrap this and start over. So I could perceive that as a failure, but I look at it more as an opportunity. So it's your mindset and how you deal with this. It's how you think about it. So I think about it more as an opportunity to improve, and that I'm able to cut and run from where I was at before and then adjust immediately. So it's okay. It's okay to fail. Everybody fails. Just know that it's part of it. And if you're not failing, well, actually, let me revise that. The more you fail, the more successful you will be. The more you fail, the more successful you will be. So you have to embrace failure. And if you're not doing that yet, you need to start. Okay? Boom, boom, boom. Got that. And then the last piece I want to talk about for you. And again, practice objections. So practice objections, and it's okay. This is how to overcome fear and rejection. 3 quick pieces. So let me take a sip of water again. I'm doing good. I'm not spilling it all over myself. Boom. Okay. So if you guys are getting this, or if you have any questions, just go ahead and put something in the chat, and I'll get to that. Okay. So what will you get? What will you get is and I'm going to share this again real quick. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, come on. Okay. What will you get is in the course. It's under the Mindset Mastery module. And so basically what I'm going over is I'm going over the self-assessment, the mindset overview, overcoming fear and rejection, and what will you get. I'm going over those sections. So any of this material If you're in the course, you can just get in there and pull it up. So let me get back to just us. Okay. So what will you get? What this is it's taking your self-assessment and it's taking you ranking that on a scale from 1 to 10 as how good you are at that right now. So if we say that health is extremely important to us because of X, Y, and Z reasons, and it's important to us at a level 8 or something like that. But let's say that you're only good at it at a level 5. You know what I mean? Like if you're underperforming, this is going to show you what you will get by doing that. So you're taking your goals and your aspirations of where you want to be with career, money, family, health, personal growth and development, contribution and legacy, what you really want in those areas, and then you're ranking them so that you can see right in front of your face how good you are at them and how good you're not. A while ago, I was talking to one of my mentors, and he had told me that the amount of, if you say that your family is the most important, okay, do a time study and see how much time you're spending with your family. Really look at where your focus is going when you're at home or when you're at work. What are you focusing on? I know times I'll say that my family is the most important thing, but my actions, they're not showing up. Sometimes I'll say my wife's the most important person in my life, the most important thing in my life, but I'm not doing what I need to do to show that. So this is important so that you can know where you're at, what you're going to get, and then you're able to evaluate that and make any pivots that you need to make. See what I'm saying there? So what will you get? You rate those on a scale from 1 to 10, and that will give you a pretty good idea of what you're at. So think about these things, okay? And I want to give you a recap so that you can assess where you're at and what you need to do. Let me take a quick sip of water again. Hold up. Okay. So you have your self-assessment where you're grading yourself in different areas, identifying your strengths and your weaknesses, and also your personality type, so you can understand yourself and how you react to other people to make sure that you're aligned in the sources of business that you're working. Understanding the difference between the armored and exposed mindset and what you can do about them. Overcoming fear and rejection, the 3 things that we spoke about, which is practice, 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 being able to address objections before they ever come up, and knowing that it's okay to fail. And then the third piece, which is what you will get, and that's taking the self-assessment and then putting it into practice by grading yourself to see where you're at. Now, if you start doing these things, if you start following the mindset piece, if you start following the planning, okay, and this is why I call it Change Agent Foundation Training, because that it's the mindset mastery, the business blueprint, leverage, which is the time management, and metrics, which is the numbers analyzer. All of these things fit into mindset. So you see me talk more about sources of business in Business Blueprint. You see me talk more about where you're wasting your time in your business and what you need to be doing with your daily schedule and how you need to be planning in leverage. And then you see in metrics how to keep your awareness on your numbers so that you know how good you are and where you need to improve your conversions. And all of this stuff is super easy. All you have to do is do the work and put it in practice. That's it. And then you'll be self-aware. You'll know where you're at with your mindset, and you'll know how to improve it. That's what I got for yous today. Whoever else is on the live, you can jot a comment. I appreciate the likes. That's cool. So whoever's on right now, if you have a comment or a question, I'm here to answer them. Just type it in. And I'll wait in case there's a delay. But not seeing anything here. What I'll do is afterwards, if there's any questions or anything in the chat, I will answer them in a short video later. So cool. You guys have an awesome day. Use this mindset piece. Get into the course and start working on some of that mindset piece. Even if you just schedule a little bit of time every day to go through one module, that's it. Just one module a day, you'll get so far and your mindset will be better. Okay, have an awesome day. See you guys. See yous. And that's that, guys. That's the overview of how to understand your mindset, where you are, where you're going, and how all of these different pieces with your planning, your time management, numbers, like how all of that affects your mindset, which most people don't think of, but it's important to know. And now you know, and knowing is half the battle. If you like this, which I'm sure you did, subscribe below to this YouTube channel. Get more awesome videos like this, and I will see you guys soon.